What's up, everybody? I'm Crizel the Great. Excuse my voice, I'm a little hoarse. I have a cold, but I wanted to share my practical state board experience with y'all. We already kind of talked about theory, and I really appreciate so many of y'all just coming telling me, hey, I'm about to go take my test. I'd be so excited because I remember what that felt like. The nerves, girl, the nerves. My nerves were so bad when I was going to take my test. And I just be praying for y'all to pass your test and for everything to go well because I know how nerve-wracking that is. I wanted to talk a little bit about my practical experience. Excuse my background. My husband is in his studio. But with my practical experience, do you think I was nervous for my theory? I act a complete fool for practical. So this is what happened. So the day came for my practical exam. First of all, for practical, I had everything separated into containers, just like I was instructed to do. My clips, my 2-prong clips, my single-prong clips, my water bottle, everything was labeled. Everything was labeled. You want to make sure that you have every process that you have to go through separated into big bags. So I had big Ziploc bags and they were labeled. That was for the haircut, the finger waves and the wet works, the comb out, and the chemical head. I believe it's 5 processes, but you can only bring 4 mannequin heads. So I ended up doing my finger waves and my wet works on the same head. You can only bring 4 mannequins. I was prepared, basically. I had everything the way it was supposed to be, and everything was labeled. There were some things I knew I was going to have a struggle with when I got there. I struggled with the comb out. I struggled with the comb out real bad. The only thing I could tell you with that comb out is for you to practice as much as you can. They don't have like a whole lot of videos on YouTube, I would say, that helped. Some of them helped a little bit, but when it came to trying to make sure that the hair doesn't shake and all of that stuff with the head, like I had a hard time with that. I pull up to the place. I was super early because I was a nervous wreck. And the last thing I needed was, trying to hurry up and get there to become a problem for me because it's in BR. And you know how the traffic can be when you like coming and going from over there. So I went there. I think I might have went in a little bit early when they allowed us to use the bathroom and everything because they're not going to allow you to go in before your scheduled time. So basically, my mannequin head with the rollers were not as secure as I needed them to be in my comb out head. Everything has to be, the rollers have to be secure in the head. It does. If I'm not mistaken, that's something that they check for when you get there. So I gave them my paperwork and everything. And for my paperwork, I think what they asked for was my photo ID, my driver's license, my social security card, and the letter with the date on it. There may be something else, so please double check. Don't just take my word for it. Check your paperwork, check with your instructor to see exactly what it is that they're asking you for. You don't want to drive all the way over there and not have something because you're going to pass out in that parking lot because you're already going to be in a nervous wreck. Don't do that to yourself. Make sure you have all of your paperwork before you get there and put it in your bag the night before. Don't wait until the morning of because it's easy to forget when you're nervous. Anywho, making my way back around where I was in the story. My mannequin head with the rollers in it for the comb out was flying all over my car when I was driving. It was not secure, and I know it was some bumps and lumps that I hit, and that thing was going everywhere. So when I tried to pick up the mannequin head, when it was time for me to get out the car. A couple of my rollers fell out. And them rollers, like I said, they have to be in there. They have to be in that head. Tell me why before I put the roller back on the hair, first of all, the mannequin has to be completely dry. It has to be dry because your comb out is not gonna come out right. And they gonna check that mannequin head after you do that comb out to see if everything is dry and placed the way it's supposed to be. I was so nervous that when that happened, I freaked out and I sprayed the mannequin head with water to put the roller back in. And I had already secured the roller back in the head by the time I realized what the heck I had just did. I was so mad at myself. I was very upset with myself, actually. And my panic went from a 10 to about a 15 at that point. So I put the roller back in. I'm like, maybe I could get by, maybe I could get by with that. So we go in and get everything set up. First of all, I'm going to tell you this to save you some of your money, because there's some things on that supply list that they have there. I do suggest for you to bring the mannequin stand that you're comfortable with. They have some there, but when you're used to practicing in a certain way, like I bought my tripod. I didn't want to work on the one that was attached to the desk. It's just easier for me, for whatever reason, to work with my mannequin head on my tripod. But another thing is that they provide like the brooms and dustpans. That was one of the things I remember being on the list, and I went and bought that, and then people already had that there. And then on top of that, the one that I bought was really little. It was so small. But I still bought it because I felt like it was something that I was going to need, because I had never experienced this before, and I'm just trying to, bring everything that's on my supply list. You don't need to bring that. Don't go in there with no broom and no dustpan. They have that there already. I did kind of have a little bag for extra little stuff to put in it. Kind of not really like a trash bag, but like a to be sanitized bag, so that everything that I used can go into that bag when I'm finished. We started out with the comb out. That head has to be completely dry. If you use gel for your pin curls, you have to make sure that gel is dry. Gel takes a very, very long time to dry. I would say if you're going to be using your gel to set your pin curls, make sure you do it like a couple of days in advance and give your head time to dry. Even if you have to sit that bad boy under a dryer, like stand it up on a tripod under a dryer and let it dry that way. During the process for the comb out, you have to take all the rollers out, take all the pins out the head. I think it has to be a third of the head and pin curls. I did pin curls at the back of the head, and then I did a bricklayer roller set at the top. Some people do it in different ways from what I was told, but that's the way we did it at our school. We took everything out and we combed that mannequin head all the way out. And I can't remember exactly how much time you have. It might be something like 20 to 30 minutes for you to do the comb out. And I just saw how flappy that piece was that I had sprayed with that water bottle. And I just knew it was going to be a no. I tried. I already struggled with that before that happened. I already was having troubles with the comb out. And on top of that, I had that little piece at the bottom. I had already had in my head that I wasn't going to pass that part. If I'm not mistaken, the next thing that we had to do was might have been the chemical head. There was one part of the chemical head I had to redo. And it's crazy because it was a part of the chemical head I would have never thought that I had to redo. the part where you had to do the, I forgot what you call it, the front part. The front part where you have to make sure you have that product all on. You have to make sure you pack that sucker on to the scalp of that mannequin head. A color retouch or something. Please forgive me. I can't remember. But I know how it's supposed to be applied. I just can't remember what it's called right now. But they said I didn't put product on the scalp. And I said, yes, I did. I did put product on the scalp. When you put that product on that scalp for this section right here, make sure you pack it on to where they can really see that it's on there. Don't have it all over the place like a hot mess, because you could fail for that too. Make sure for that section, I think it's about this much of the hair at the top. Make sure that cholesterol is on there and packed on there to where they could see that is on there. Because I couldn't believe I had to go back for that. Because I felt like I did a good job the first time, but they really want to see it packed on. Everything else was fine. Chemical waves, you have to do them in 10 minutes. I did that. That was cool. Actually the finger waves. Did I say chemical waves? Finger waves. Nah, for the haircut. Oh, Lord. Ain't nothing stressed me out like that haircut. I thought I was stressed for the comb out. When it came time for that haircut, I was sweating. They was checking that haircut. I just went to getting hot. I just knew. Because when I was doing the haircut, I did cut a guy in it. But some parts of the haircut, I wasn't able to finish. Like, I took too long to finish it. So I started rushing. And in me rushing, trying to hurry up, I ended up cutting the piece too short. I could have died right there. But, so to make a long story short, the first time I went to State Board, I did not pass the first time, girl. They told me I had to bring my raggedy ass back over there to take the test again. But that was fine. If that happens to you, do not panic and don't give up. Don't give up. Because sometimes you don't pass the first time. It's okay. You're going to be all right. Take a deep breath. You're going to be fine. If you have to go back, you have to go back. But just try to make sure you're as prepared as possible the first time. So even if you do have to go back the second time, you don't have to do a whole lot of. You just go there and redo the stuff that you missed the first time and you good. At the end of the test, you do have to take the Gold Book test that asks you different things about sanitation and things like that. You want to make sure you practice that. If I'm not mistaken, they do have a guide, or they have a guide to the Gold Book test on the website for you to look up. That part of it was super easy. I think it might have been like, oh, don't make me lie. I thought maybe like, was it, how many questions? I can't remember how many questions. Anyways, that's going to be the least of your worries. Still take a glimpse at it to get an idea, but it's just stuff that you basically have been told the entire time that you've been in school about different aspects of like sanitation, and don't even worry too much about that. That part is going to be okay. But girl, make sure you have everything labeled. Make sure you have your bag separated, everything that you need. I put everything in a suitcase. I had my tripod, my mannequin heads in a suitcase. Don't put that comb out mannequin in that suitcase. Don't do that. When you put your mannequin head in your car, please, especially the for the comb out, make sure it's sitting somewhere that is not going to fly around everywhere. It needs to be completely in place. You want to make sure that when you roll them rollers for that comb out, that those rollers are rolled tight and clipped tight. Don't come over there. I saw some people with their head looking worse than mine. Just rollers falling all out the head. Don't walk up to them people thing down bad like that. Make sure you roll your rollers tight as you can. Continue practicing. If you have trouble with that, get somebody to help you, figure out how to roll it as tight as possible. You have different videos too that'll help you. I can't remember who it was, but somebody had a video showing you how to roll on base, off base, half base, like you would do for the chemical head. And it was incredible. I'm going to find out who that was and let y'all know. But that video was very helpful in helping me roll those rollers where they were supposed to be for that Wetworks head. I thought the Wetworks, because you know the Wetworks, you have to have that on base, half base, off base, and then you have to do, I forgot what they call it, but you roll a roller in the opposite way. And then you have to do finger waves in the back. And you have to do a on base, half base, off base, and opposite pin curl on the head, on the left side. I don't even remember everything that had to go. That was a monster to me. I thought that was going to be the hardest thing in the world, and it was not. It wasn't the hardest thing in the world. The Wetworks head was so big and scary to me at first, but after I did it so many times, I was like, okay, this is not that bad. But everybody is different. So I don't know what it is that some of y'all may struggle with when it comes to it. But whatever it is that you're struggling with, try to make sure you familiarize yourself with it really well before you have to go to state board. Get in as much practice as you possibly can, because you don't want to have to take that long drive twice. Some of y'all, you live in Baton Rouge, that's wonderful. You ain't gonna have no problem getting there. For some of us, we gotta travel far and wide. And you don't want to have to travel far and wide multiple times, or sometimes it's just an inconvenience to have to go a distance at all. I would say just be as prepared as you possibly can so that you don't have to go more than once like I did. But if you do have to go twice, don't worry about it, girl. It's gonna be all right. Just go back to the drawing board and keep practicing. Don't give up. The second time I went to state board, I passed. And it was no problem. My nerves wasn't as bad because I already had an idea of what was expected of me when I arrived. And I ended up passing. I had to redo the comb out, which I told you I already knew I was going to have a struggle with. I had to redo that. And the second time I did it, I surprised myself at how well I actually did with that. Don't let your nerves get the best of you. Sometimes when you get nervous, it is overwhelming and it just overtakes you. Don't let it do you that. Don't let it do you that. Please don't do the dumb thing that I did and spray that comb out head with no water right before you walk through them people do. Don't do that. Don't do what I did. Learn from my mistake. And that was my nerves. By the mistake, I don't mean just spraying the chemical head, but allowing your nerves to overtake you and overwhelm you and make you do crazy things. Don't do it. Take a deep breath, pray about it, let it go. What's meant for you, you're going to have it, because what God has for you is yours. You just have to be ready to take it. And that's it, y'all. I just wanted to share that with y'all and encourage y'all. If y'all have some practical stories or some funny things that happened when y'all went to go take your practical exam, please do share. I know I'm not the only one that did something crazy. I couldn't have been, because the way some of the mannequin heads was looking when I went, baby, some of them mannequin heads was telling a story. Some people rollers for them comb outs was all over the place. And I thought that was one of the things that they grade on the comb out. Maybe the same thing that happened to me happened to them, but even worse, because for mine it was only a couple of rollers. But for some people it was like every single roller was hanging off of the head. And I was just like, if it was that bad, I probably would have passed out in the people parking lot, because that's how bad my nerves was. But don't let your nerves do you that. Don't let your nerves do it to you. You're going to be okay. And you're going to pass. Even if you don't pass the first time, you could always go back. Thank y'all for supporting my videos. And I just love when y'all share y'all experiences and telling me y'all going to take y'all tests and everything. I love to hear that. And I do be praying for y'all to pass y'all tests. And I just remember what that was like for me. This is a dream that we chasing. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing to see other people have the passion for something the way you have a passion for it. And putting yourself, going through cosmetology school in itself, you took the extra step that was needed. And it's no small thing, especially not for those of us who are parents and who have a lot of stuff going on outside of going to cosmetology school. I'm a full-time mother. I worked full-time, still work full-time. And I was going to school after work every single day. Some days, I would not even see my children. And that was the hardest part for me. That was the hardest part. That some days I would leave before they wake up, and by the time I come home, they be asleep already. But the dreams and the things in life that I'm pursuing is for them. And that resilience is what I know my children are gonna thank me for later. This cold is tearing me up if y'all can't hear it in my voice. That's gonna be it for this video. Y'all pray for me. I'm gonna drink me some tea, but keep me in your prayers, and I'll continue praying for y'all. And I'm interested to hear some of your experience, especially some of y'all that recently took your theory exams and passed. I want to know what practical was like for you. And everybody is not taking the state board in Louisiana. State board in other places is probably much different requirements. The process may be much different. We would love for y'all to share where y'all from, where it is that you had to take your exam, and what your experience was like, because I want to hear. I'm interested in hearing y'all stories if you're willing to share with us here. But anyway, that's it for today. I love y'all. I'm rooting for y'all. You're gonna pass your test. Get out of your nerves. Take a deep breath. Don't drink too much caffeine before you go in there. Don't do that. That's gonna make your nerves even worse. Get it together, girl. You're gonna be all right. And I'll see y'all in the next video.